Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's live stream. Just wait a few seconds as the stream catches up so I can hear my dulcet tones coming over the iPad, then I can turn that down. I know I do this every week and I don't have any problems, but I think it's nice just to make sure that I can hear myself, because I know in one of the early days, yep, I can hear myself. I forgot to turn the mic on, so you couldn't hear me. So welcome to you all. So let's quickly jump to the comments. So we've got Simply Orbs. Welcome to you. Good morning to you, Gary. Good evening to others. Welcome to everybody. Blonde Scales 1. Hello from Arkansas. Alia Rose. Greetings from Snow Globe, Pennsylvania. Now, I was listening to a podcast earlier on where they were mentioning Pennsylvania. I think it was the Skeptic's Guide to the Universe, today's episode. Miss Marilyn, darling. Hello, everybody. Hope you're feeling better. I was just watching your currently inked video, so hopefully things are calming down for you there. Andreas, should I say, hello all. BJ, hello, everybody. John, hello again from New York. Simply Orbs, hello there, Miss Marilyn, darling. Chris V, hello, hello. Miss Marilyn, darling. Hi, Gary. BJ's levels sound good. Miss Marilyn, darling. Hi, Orbs. Hi, Alia Rose. BJ, hello to Gary. And then we've got Miss Marilyn, darling. Hi, Andreas. BJ, Chris. Margaret, well, welcome to you, Margaret. Good morning to you as well. So let me just do a quick refresh. How are we going? Yeah. Miss Marilyn, darling, thank you. I'm feeling a little better. So, apologies if you hear a bit of a windy noise. I've got my desk fan on. As you know, middle of summer here in Western Australia. Yesterday we had a nice cool day. Didn't need any cooling on. Didn't even hardly need the fans on yesterday. It was a beautiful, lovely 28 Celsius, which is, I know there's a foreign American system. Let me see, 28 C in F. Which was, about 82 Fahrenheit. It's a beautiful day yesterday. Today, the forecast is for 40, which is 104 Celsius. And it's currently 28 already. And that's, 8:30 in the morning. So it's going to be a bit of a warm one. So I've got my desk fan on to try and keep me cool. A couple more hellos. Alia Rose. Hi, Miss Marilyn. Anita, good to catch live. Welcome to you, Anita. Paul, welcome to you, Paul. Greetings, Gary there. Ricardo, good morning. BJ, hi, MMD. Miss Marilyn, darling, I can't hear it. Yeah, hopefully. So I use the mic I use. This is called a Blue Yeti, and it's got a number of modes. And I've got the mode turned on where it should only detect what's happening at this side of the mic, and the desk fan's over there. I'd just like to say, just in case something does come through. Will Hodge. Howdy all there, howdy all here from Texas. Can't talk today. Howdy all here from Texas. There we go. That's a bit better. Miss Marilyn, darling, 82.4. Yep, Jesus Christ, I'm assuming that's to do with the temperature. Gonna be a warm one. And it's forecast for today, tomorrow, and Tuesday. And then it drops down into like the 20s again, which is not too bad. Miss Marilyn, darling, you poor thing. Blonde Scales 1, I suspect he's wearing shorts since it's hot there. I start wearing shorts about roughly early mid-September, and then I stay in my shorts all the way through till usually about June-ish. My poor trousers don't get very much use at all. That's why I've always got these t-shirts. These are just cheaper t-shirts because I can go through, like today I might go through 3 or 4 t-shirts because it just gets so warm. And although we've got aircon on, we don't usually put it on until it gets really, really hot. There's normally just me and sometimes the wife at home. It's a lot of messing around just for 2 of us. We just open doors and windows, turn on some fans. I know, we're very brave. Couple more comments and then we'll jump into Musset, sorry. Hello, Gary. How's the Homo sapiens? Yes, I'll I'll touch on that later on in the stream. So let's jump on over to the screen. Let me just get up the right thingamajiggy bob. There we go, community tab. Let's jump to the screen. Miss Marilyn down in 75 plus and the aircon comes on. Yeah, normally I've got a Galileo thermometer in my lounge room, and normally I don't put my trigger for putting it on is when all the balls drop down to the bottom, which is about 36 degrees inside, and that's usually when I put it on. Other than that, usually a fan just keeps the air moving. So let's get down to what we're here for. So hopefully you can all see my screen. So semi-final number 1, which was between the Retro 51 Tornado and the Monteverde Ritmer. I'm not surprised by this. This is my prediction is that the Ritmer would win, and it has. The Ritmer 68% of the vote. If I go to my spreadsheet where I've been just calculating it, so we've got here the Retro 51 Tornado with the Monteverde Ritmer. So we've got 20 people voted for the Tornado and 45 there voting for the Ritmer. So nice. That's it. Very similar to what I was expecting. Semi-final 2, this will be going out this afternoon. That's the Twisby Eco and the Ranga Santa. I will be honest with you. I think I know which one's going to win. I think we'll know better in a week's time, won't we? But I do think I know which one will win again of these. Not going to say it because I don't want to affect people's voting. So that's the tournament. We've got some more comments coming in. Will Hodge received my Hondian C1 pens, gave them the flush and inked one up. Very nice writer, been enjoying it. I can't remember if I've got a C1. I do have a C pen, but I can't remember what number it was. Let's just fetch up the spreadsheet and we can have a look. Hondian C1. Open recent. Manufacturers list. And then Hondian. So we want to sort by manufacturer. So as you know, I've got a database where I keep all my pens. That's on my Mac. This is where I do my development, so it's like test data. So I can't really show you it running on the Mac. But let's go to the screen. Oh, I've already done that. What I do is one of the functions in there lets me export a spreadsheet, which I can then manipulate here. So I want to go by manufacturer. So what Hondian have I got? I'm sure I've got a C pen. Oh, maybe I haven't. No, I don't. Oh, maybe it's a Mahjong C pen then. I've got. Yeah, a Mahjong C3. I recognise the letter. Funny way to think about things, isn't it? Let's go back to the camera. Blonde Scales 1. So yeah, anyway, the Hondian. I'm going to pop that on the list. So Hondian C1 as a potential future pen. Blonde Scales 1. Fan season comes first, then the AC is next. Yeah, I mean, so far we've had to have the AC on, maybe 3 times. We've been able to get by with just the fan, which has been good. Blonde Scales 1, thanks to some Facebook posts, I've now got some preppies to paint with nail polish. That's a good idea. I didn't realise you could do it. I should have thought about that. You'll see a preppy coming up in a video during the week. I do have a couple of preppies. The one I've got is just a clear, transparent one, and it's what I call my sacrificial black ink pen. It is what it says. It's the pen that I've got black ink in. Very rarely use black ink, but I've always got a pen there. Today's mug, this is like the pencil drawings of Marvel, and I've got lemon and ginger tea today. It's been a bit of a thirsty day, so I've already I've already drunk my peppermint tea, so I thought we'd have some lemon and ginger. Okay, where are we going? More comments, yes. BJ, I've been using my first Bennu. What an amazing steel nibbed pen. Can't put it down. Absolutely with you there. I absolutely love my Bennu nib. I've only got the one. But the nib is so nice. It's got a nice bounciness to it. It's got lovely feedback. Really nice. Wool Hodge. I see Goulet has an exclusive on the Bennu Earl Grey tea pen. Resin is infused with tea. Yeah, I saw that. I thought, what a good idea that. If you're interested about Earl Grey tea, and a shameless plug in here, over at my Tricky Little Questions channel, I've actually done a video about the origin of Earl Grey tea, which was quite interesting to make. Ricardo, I was a bad boy this week. I bought 3 pens, including the new 2024 special edition, and attended an exhibition commemorating the 20 years of Lamy Safari. Especially, that would have been really interesting to go to. I've only got the one Safari, and it's not even a special edition. But I think, yeah, that would have been really interesting to see that. I love going into the history of things. To me, it's something that's really, really interesting, like looking at the history of what's going on with different things. BJ, I take plastic polish to my preppies and remove the labels. Alia Rose, which Bennu did you get? Andreas, here in Queensland, AC comes on mid-20s to get rid of the humidity. Yeah, the humidity can be a bit of a killer. At the moment, it's only 45% humidity. I did check before I started recording. And one of the things I've been trying to remember to do now is when I'm doing my writing samples, is actually say what the temperature and humidity is, because it can affect the paper and the absorption of the paper. Anita, is the C1 the retractable nib and fountain pen click? BJ, I've got the Earl Grey. It's gorgeous. Ooh, that does sound nice. Trouble is, for me, there's a lot of bling on Bennu pens, and that's what really puts me off. And I can see there's a comment about that coming up. Alia Rose, nice. BJ, I'm not big on bling in my pens either. Yeah, that's the downside with Bennu, as I say. It's a lot of them. I wouldn't. I mean, the one I've got, that Dragon's Blood, is handy. Is it? Yeah. The Dragon's Blood. It's still got a lot of bling in it. But when I bought this, the aim was to use it as like a Christmas time, so a December pen. And then if I do like Christmas in July, which I'm not sure, I did that last year, I'm not sure if I'm going to do that again this year. So I don't mind using it for that, because the colours, the reds and the greens, are like tinsel. But other than that, most of them just really put me off, I've got to be honest. Miss Marilyn Darling, are you a real Star Trek fan if you haven't tried tea Earl Grey hot? Exactly. When I was watching Picard, they didn't use it often enough. They used to use it a lot more, didn't they, in The Next Generation? I'm planning, maybe later on this year, to do a Next Generation rewatch. I did start it, so I'm about halfway through, but then I've had a couple of years of break, so I might go back to that later on this year. I think, is it the next series isn't it Discovery? We're going to get the last series of Discovery coming up soon. I've got a pop vinyl in my living room, so I can't show you, of Saru, and it sits underneath the TV unit, and my wife can't stand it because she thinks, she says it's constantly staring at her. No matter where she goes in the room, it's staring at her. Sorry. Alia Rose, the sparklier the better for me. Even nicer if it glows in the dark. Yes, so again, Bennu do some really nice, interesting ones, don't they, where they do that. They've got the glow in the dark stuff. Simply Orbs, oh my goodness, I've received my Grail pen, the Pelican M805. I'm in love. Know what you mean there. I will show you. I'll just pull them out of the case and they're ready. I'll do a quick show of the 2 pens that I recorded this week. Yesterday I did a members only live stream and showed them off on there as well. Andreas, I've got the Earl Grey garish, but not too over the top. Great nib. Wool Hodge, the C1 is a slip cap pen with a hooded nib reminiscent of the Parker 51. That might be worth me trying that, because I want to do a video. I've got the Wingsun 601, And I can't remember the model number. There's a couple of Jinhao with hooded nibs. I was planning a video looking at a number of hooded nib pens, so that might be one worth getting before I do that, so I can actually include that. Blonde scales 1. I can also make my polished preppies glow if I want to. Got polish that glows. Oh, interesting. Miss Marilyn Darling, slowly working my way through all the series again. Yeah, I went off them because I've got a massive backlog of shows on Netflix and Prime that I wanted to get through. So that's what I've been doing. So I'm currently watching, I'll be finishing it this afternoon, the second season of Altered Carbon. Then I've got the second season of Nightfall, I think it is, which is very loosely based around the Knights Templar. What else have I got? I know some sad programs, Sabrina, whatever the witch. I've got 1 or 2 seasons of that. You know, it's just one of those programs you can put on in the background. Really good. Tell you what I have been watching this week. Mr. and Mrs. Smith on Amazon Prime. Not sure if anybody else has been able to catch that. I've watched the first 3 episodes. Sorry. I'm not sure what I feel about it. It's not what I was expecting. I remember watching the film many, many years ago. But I don't know what it is. It's the characters I really like. I think the characters are good. The situations they've been in, not been too bad. But there's just something about it. It's not grabbing me. And we finished watching Reacher a couple of weeks ago. That grabbed me. But this one, I don't know what it is. There's just something about it. I don't know. It's just, it's not that it's too slow. You know, the pacing's good. It's just weird. Be interesting if anybody else has been watching it, what you think about that. Miss Marilyn Darling, how exciting, Simply Orbs. Let me go down. BJ, the Bennu is the only pen that has caused me to put down my 823 for any period of time. Really says something for me. I don't know who tunes their pens, but they know what they're doing. Yeah, I think that, again, I say the Bennu, absolutely love it. Anita Helton, yep, I'm jealous, Grail pen. Miss Marilyn, yep, Jinhao 51A. I was thinking something like that, but I just wasn't 100%. Simply Orbs, thanks. I wanted to tell you immediately. And then we get a love heart coming back. Alia Rose, I've got the Bennu Talisman Sakura inked with Vinta Lakbay. Hopefully I pronounced that one right. And the pairing could not be more perfect. Isn't it nice when you just get that really pairing which really hits you? Simply Orbs, I got it on a deal, so it came with an extra fine nib, but I've got a medium coming. MMD, Angela Jolie and Brad Pitt. Oh my God! And then after that movie, they got married. Yeah. I really enjoyed the movie. I might actually need to rewatch that. I'm doing a rewatch of a lot of the DC movies. So I watched the other day Suicide Squad from about 2017, the one which had Will Smith in it. I've got, is it Harley Quinn to watch? Then I've got the next Suicide Squad, and so I've got quite a few. I've got them all lined up. Will Hodge, congrats, Simply Orb, on your Grail pen. Is it a fire hose like I hear pelicans are? Sorry, my voice is going a bit today. We've got I'm not very good with emoji things. Is that crying with laughter? Will Hodge, yes, the extra fine nib is more like a medium. Let me just do a quick refresh and then we'll head on over. Yep, so none there. Let's head on over to the overhead camera. Because I've got the fan on, I've got my paper, my envelope opener there, which is holding down this paper so it doesn't blow away. So the pens I've been using this week. The first one, this is a pen I've been using all week. Not sure if it'll write because it is virtually out of ink. So I used this up until we're taking the date out. I think it was Wednesday. This is the Narwhal Skullkill in Porpita Navy. So you've seen this for a couple of weeks. So we've got here a Navalur. I have to pronounce it like that, otherwise I write it incorrectly. Skullkill. I know I'm pronouncing that right, that wrong. Medium nib, I believe. Yeah, medium nib. The ink, Diamine. Ruby Blues. And the price for this pen, 92 Aussie dollars. I do love this pen, it's very nice. But I say it's now out of ink, so into the clean out pot. The next pen I only brought in for about a day. This is the Jinhao 9019. Very nice pen, nice sizable pen, nice weighty pen. Well, not weighty, sorry, nice weight in the hand pen. It's actually fairly light, but the width makes it feel a lot heavier than I think it actually is. Got that Jinhao number 8 size nib on there. So we've got here Jinhao 9019. It's the medium nib. The ink is Noodler, or Noodlers, Navajo turquoise. And the price for this was 12 Aussie dollars. Now, why I've taken this out of rotation, the first thing is I've got a couple of little flow issues there. I have been working on the nib, so what I've been doing is pulling the nib out and then using a shim just to try and widen it a little bit. I do find it's not consistent now, and I think there's a bit of a sweet spot on the nib. The ink though is what caused me to it doesn't show through on here, but on the paper that I'm using for my writing samples during the week, I know it's a cheaper notebook, but the ink goes completely through it, and on the reverse side it's as bright as the ink on the front side, which means that I couldn't actually see anything when I was writing the next day's work, the next day's page. So it was just too wet. Well, not too wet, it was just soaking through too much. Wasn't of any use for me, so I had to bite the bullet and take it out of the rotation, which was a shame, but you got to do what you got to do. So I brought in its stead this. This is a Jinhao 80. Just going to sneak this one in. There's a Lamy 2000 next to it. This one, cartridge converter. In here, I've actually got Fire Engine Red, and I forgot I've got Fire Engine Red in here. And the day before I brought this out, somebody had mentioned in one of the comments about Robert Oster Fire Engine Red. So it is in here, but it's only in a fine nib, so it's not really showing the ink off to its fullest. So this is a Jinhao 80, which again is playing up, and we haven't even had the heat yet. Jinhao 80. That's the first time this has played up since I inked this pen up about 3 months ago, and I've left it sat for weeks and it's started up first time. It's got a fine nib. The ink, as I say, is Robert Oster Fire Engine Red. And the price for this pen was a whopping 5 Aussie dollars. As I say, it's a fine nib. It's a Lamy style nib, so what I'm planning to do next time I do an order from a pen store which sells Lamy nibs, I'm planning to get a broad nib to put on here instead. So that's that Jinhao 80. Then we get to my daily pens. So starting with Sunday of last week and also yesterday, I've got the Jinhao 9056. This is in green sandalwood. Beautiful wooden pen. There is a lining inside, hopefully you can see that, which does seem to help with stopping the nib from drying out. Cartridge converter. Got a little bit of ink left in there. And on here, the nib I've got, it's not the Jinhao nib. I've swapped it out for a Kiwi pens, and this is medium cursive italic. Absolutely beautiful. I love the line this puts down. So we've got here a Jinhao 9056. So it's medium cursive italic. So the line I'm getting, if I'm going straight down and then There's going across. The ink, just move that out of the way. I've got my fingers holding this down now. By Diamine and Wild Strawberry. Nice bright red ink. And this pen costs 20 Aussie dollars. I think the nib was about $15, so in total the combo is 35. But to buy the 9056 itself, it's about $20. So that's a Jinhao 9056. The next pen, and also today's pen, this is the only pen that's lasted the whole month. So this was in the original lineup. Here we've got the Mahjong P136, so piston filling pen. Nearly out of ink now. There's not a lot of ink in there. I'll say this is today's pen. So what I'm planning to do is once I finish today, this is going to go in the pot to be cleaned out. Nice pen, nice size, nice shape, nice weight. Comfortable section. The section I'm not squashed up. Really nice to use. And we've still got that in there, that Jinhao nib. Not Jinhao, Moonman nib, he says. So we've got a Mahjong P136. I love the way this writes. Even though it's a fine, it's actually really nice. And then we've got Herban or Urban Eclat de Saphir. Nice blue ink this. And here we're looking at 37 Aussie dollars. Very nice pen though, nice to use, holds an awful lot of ink. As I say, it's still going strong, and definitely I'm going to get all of today out of it. Maybe even might get another day, but I'm just going to clean it out. Next up, we can't write with this one because I've already cleaned this. This is the Parker Jotter with, there's a converter that's in it. It's been cleaned out, so there's actually nothing in there. Very small, very thin pen. I do find it very uncomfortable, but I think this is more designed as a student pen. So, you know, I'm comparing, you know, fat old blokes, big hands with, you know, a pen aimed at, you know, 12, 13-year-old kids. The only thing that's different here is the nib. The nib is a Kaweco double broad nib. Oh, beautiful nib. I absolutely love the nib on this. I love the way this writes, which is why I don't mind the fact that it feels too small, because it's such a beautiful writing pen. These pens now, to buy them brand new, they're about 20, 25 Aussie dollars. This one was actually made back in 1997, so it's an older model. Up next, we have, it says, the Mahjong. Going back to Mahjong, this is the P135. So we had the P136. Now, this is one of the things with the naming. Here's the P136, which is a piston filler. Here's the P135. The 135 is an older model, but the 135 is a cartridge converter. I'd have thought with the letter P, it would have been a piston filler, but it's not. It's a cartridge converter. Again, we've got not a lot of ink in there, so that'll be written out tomorrow, because this is the pen that I'll be using tomorrow. It's another shortish feeling pen, but it's not too bad. The section very, very thin. Again, I find uncomfortable, but again, not unusably so. You can post it. It seems tight enough, but you know, I know I tapped it, but just shaking it, it's all right. Makes it very back heavy though. This cap is very heavy. There's a load of weight in this. It's a nice pen. Here's we've got the Mahjong nib. So we've got here a Mahjong P135. Again, it's a fine nib. The ink I've got in here is by Robert Toster, and it's Velvet Crush. Nice, like a dark purple, and like maybe a dusty purple, maybe I could describe it. Yeah, it does remind me of looking at like a purple velvet. The cost of this pen is 45 Aussie dollars. So it does feel a bit thin, but writes beautifully, and at the end of the day, that's what we want, isn't it? My next pen, again, I can't remember if I've already washed this out. Let me just check. This is, well, no, we'll check as we go through, won't we? This is the Pen BBS 323. This is aluminium. It's a well, I call it brown. I can't remember what colour they actually called it, but it's brown. Beautiful. It is actually really nice. Yeah, and I haven't cleaned it out. I had to push the converter down because it was out of ink. So I wonder if we'll get enough ink in here to write something. Let me just push this step back down again and hopefully not get ink all over the place. The nib on here, again I've swapped the nib. I didn't like the nib. It came with a fine Pen BBS nib, which was okay, but just not for me. Since I put this broad goulet nib on here though, it's changed the pen completely. So much nicer. So let's see if we got enough to write. We might have. We've got a Pen BBS 323 with a broad nib. The ink is by Robert Oster. And it's Cafe Crema. Beautiful. One of my favourite brown inks, this. Beautiful brown. See loads of shading with this pen. And the cost of the pen, $53. That was for the pen with that Pen BBS nib. Then again, the nib, maybe another roughly $15. So talking about $68 in total there. So that's that Pen BBS 323. Then the final pen of the week. Let's move this up. Notice we're getting a bit low down there. This is the Asvine P20. So very similar, I think, to... Let me fetch this. And this is the Marjon M800. Very, very close in terms of shape. I do have a future video planned where I'm going to compare this with the M800 and then most probably the Leonardo Magico, purely because my Momento Zero is the Grande version, so not exactly the same size, but I might fetch that in as well. So that's I'm not sure when I'm going to film that, but that's something I've got planned for the future. This is another piston filling pen. I'm going to agitate it a little bit because we've got a Star Bright ink in here. Beautiful colouring. I love the colours of this pen. We have a medium nib, and this nib, again, very nice. The only thing I'd say about the nib, it's just too smooth for me. It's very, very smooth. Nice fit in the hand, nice shape. It's got that Leonardo, or old Leonardo style where we're stepping down a bit. I do like this. It's so nice to use. So, Asvine P20 medium nib. And we've got in here Diamine Glacier. Yeah, that's that beautiful Star Bright. The only problem I find with this when I'm writing with it, the Star Bright is so overpowering. We're looking at 44 Aussie dollars. Again, beautiful pen, beautiful line. If I hold this up, hopefully you can see the Star Bright coming through. So somebody asked earlier on about the two pens that I've been looking at this week. I'll fetch them out in price order. So it was a bad decision I made. I filmed both the first impressions on the same day, which was such a shame. So the first one, I brought it out very quickly earlier. This is the Lamy 2000. This has got the broad nib. Quite like this pen. I was surprised. I should have bought a Lamy 2000 earlier. Lamy 2000. Broad nib. Wow, this is so nice. The nib definitely got stub tendencies to it. There you go, you can see that. And from memory, I think I paid 316 Aussie dollars. The ink, Diamine, Writer's Blood. Actually really like this combo. Not as wet as I was expecting. I was expecting it to be a lot wetter. Then the other one, just very quickly. So the first impressions for this will not be coming out until nearly the end of April. I've got so many other videos planned at the moment. It's filmed. I need to finish editing it, but I say end of April is when it's going to come out. The other pen the Visconti Homo sapiens Dark Age. I know I've been saying about this for ages. It finally arrived. I filmed the first impressions. I say the shame was I did them both on the same day because, you know, the Lamy knocked my socks off and this one blew my socks off. Very heavy feel, nice in the hand, 18 karat gold nib. There we go, there's the nib. So just do a very quick writing sample. So we got a Visconti, the nib feels so soft. Homo sapiens, broad nib. 1,141 Aussie dollars. I did get a discount. I bought it from Colt Pens during one of their sales, so there was a discount which helped a massive. When you're talking this sort of money, the reduction from even a 10% discount was enough to make it that I could actually afford it. The ink, Diamine, Earl Grey. This is really wet. When I was doing my testing, I think I had to do a 2-minute test and it was still wet after 2 minutes. First impressions for this, scheduled to come out sometime near the end of March. So you'll have to wait a few weeks to see that. Again, for my nicer pens, I like to do the first impressions videos on a Sunday. And obviously I have a lot of other videos scheduled for Sundays. Sorry. So that will be coming. So they're the pens that I've been using this week. Let's head on over and back to the comments because I've seen there's so many comments been coming in. BJ, not many pens surprise me. The Bennu has. I wish they had more toned down pens. Earl Grey's the only one that's even close to my style. As good as this one is, I'll be keeping my eyes on them. Yeah, as I say, I've said that. The only one which I may decide to get is the bourbon one. But again, just too sparkly. I wouldn't be able to take it out anywhere because it's just too in your face. One Mr. Goodman, cheers and hello all. Welcome to you. Blonde Girls 1, hello. Alia Rose, the new Heartbeat nibbed Jinhao 9019 is wetter than the previous versions for me. Wow, I mean, that one, the one I've got's bad enough, and that's with the time's still very tight, so can I imagine what a wetter one would be? BJ, my Anita 9019, has anyone tried the new Heartbeat nib? I certainly haven't. I've only got that 19019. I will be honest with you, I'm not planning on buying another one, unless they come out with something really special. The one I've got is enough. It's very nice and comfy though. BJ, the 9019 and the X159 are both wet writers. Miss Marin Darling, maybe it's out of ink. Nah, it's definitely the... I did think that, but it's about maybe half full of ink. He says trying to get that in the camera. So there's plenty of ink. It's just the nib. And I've noticed that since I've got it. So what I do... So every so often I'll pull the nib out and work a little bit on it. I'm not a nib smith and I don't want to do too much in one go in case I end up messing it up. So I just do a little bit at a time. So I'll do a little bit, live with it for a while, see how it goes, then do a little bit more. The Jinhao 80 that is. Yeah, the Jinhao 80, that's still got... let me just check the Jinhao 80. No, that's actually fairly full. I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but the ink level's up to about here. It's the first time it's done that on me, so I don't know. I mean, I'd used it. I didn't use it this morning. I used it yesterday morning, so it's only been a day. I just think I've got to put it down to weather conditions. That's the best thing I can think of. Anita, I love the 9019. Have to get used to the thick section when start to use. Yeah, that section is very thick. I actually like that. I've got a little bit of arthritis in my fingers, and I find that thicker section a lot more comfortable to use. Anita, how close is Moonman to the Asvine V126? So I don't have a 126. I've only got that P20. But that P20 and the M800 very, very similar. BJ, I've got 8 Jinhao 80s, ultra fine, extra fine, fine, and 4 with Lamy nibs, fine, medium, broad, and 1.1. And broke one tinkering. They're damn good pens for the money, and I can use my Lamy nibs without the frustrating triangular grip. Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to trying with this. It could be that grip which puts me off the Lamy that I've got. I've got a Lamy Safari with a broad nib. I did think about swapping the nibs over, but I use the Lamy Safari in virtually every video because I use it as a size comparison. So I'd rather leave it with the nib that came on it. So that's the only reason why it's still on there. Miss Marilyn, yeah, I love the Glacier Starbright. It is. I love the blue. Pardon me. I love the blue colour. It's just, as I say, I found that Starbright in it. Certainly on my cheaper paper, it's been very overpowering. It's my favourite ink. I wish Lamy would make a Safari with a round grip section. Yeah, that would be nice to try that. I say that's why with the, make sure that is the 80. Yeah, with the 80, I want to get a nib. I say I'm waiting until I make an order from another store because I want to make, otherwise you got to pay postage for one nib, whereas I can combine it all. It's a bit cheaper. A Musset, the Lamy 2000 is really nice. It is. I've got to be honest. I've been humming and hawing for, well, really since I started getting back into fountain pens. So about 3 years, and I kept putting into my shopping carts. Then when I was like reviewing the order, I would take it out because it doesn't look exciting. And one of the things I like, you may notice with a lot of my pens, I like something a little bit exciting about them. And everyone was saying how nice they are, but it just didn't look exciting. That's why I never bothered with it. And now that I've got one, I wish I'd done it earlier. BJ, wow, that 2000 is a meaty broad. It is. I would say I'd have to measure the lines, but I would say it's getting close to being like a line I see from a 1.1 stub with a number of other pens, which I don't mind because I like 1.1 stubs. It's definitely broad because I have pulled I did take it apart and look at the nib, and the nib is definitely marked up as being a broad nib. A Musset, very nice pen. Simply Orbs. Ooh, I love it. BJ, Visconti is gorgeous, but they are so pricey. Absolutely they are. And if I couldn't have got it on sale, I wouldn't have bought it. By getting it on sale, it took it to well under $900. Which is still an awful lot to pay, isn't it? But, and I'm still trying to get my head around, Garry, what was in your head to spend that much money on a pen? Anita, is Lamy nibs a lot better than Jinhao's? That's hard to say. I mean, really, how do you define better? That's quite an interesting one, isn't it? I don't have a fine Lamy nib to compare against. My 2 Lamy nibs, I've got the broad and I've got a 1.5. So once I can get something to compare it against, I will look at that. Ricardo, glad you liked the Lamy 2000 in broad. I got my second one this week. Yeah, after having this one, I may look at other Lamy Safari and other Lamy 2000s in the future. But again, only if I can get them on offer somewhere. A Musset, very happy that Homo sapiens has exceeded your expectations. Absolutely it has. Blown away. And it's really hard at the moment because, I've filmed that first impressions, but I don't really want to use it until that first impressions has gone out. And I'm partly tempted to rearrange some of my videos that I've got scheduled. But part of me says, well, no, Garry, that's daft. Andreas, I took my Lamy 2000 to work this week. I thought it was overhyped when I first tried it. Now it's my EDC. Yeah, I can see where you're coming from with that. And I can't say this enough, how gobsmacked I was by it. It's very smooth. You hardly know it's in your hand. And professional-wise, perfect to take to meetings. And even with the writer's blood that I've put in it, it's a dark enough ink that you could get away with a professional setting for that. BJ, Lamy has nice nibs in my opinion, but they can be a little all over the place. Yeah, I've heard that. I can't remember what it was. I was listening to something and they were saying about Lamy and Kaveco even, the QC maybe not spot on at the moment. Blonde Scales 1, if I was still working, none of my fountain pens would be going with me. Pens had a tendency to grow legs, and those were the cheap ones work provided. Yeah, when I don't work in an office now, but yeah, I had that same issue when I worked in an office, but people soon learnt with me because I would snap at them. I'd soon tell them if I saw them wandering off with one of my pens. I was a bit of a sod really for that, I would soon tell them. Amos, it's funny. I have the exact same experience with the Lamy 2000. I waited over 10 years before getting one, and I regret not getting one sooner. Yeah, I think that's a common thing that people are saying. And to me, it was purely down to the looks. It doesn't look anything. Whereas at least with the Visconti, it looks nice. But yeah, wow. Andreas, I compared the Lamy 2000 broad with a Bennu 1.1 and it came out the same width. Yeah, I'm not surprised. That's something I may look at doing, just not sure when, because the Lamy 2000 video's not coming out till near the end of April. Miss Marilyn Darling, lol, I'm guessing that's about my comment about office pens. Let's refresh the comments. Okay, so that's all the comments we've gone through. Let me pull up the the key. Blonde Scales 1, these could wander off if you turned your back for 2 seconds. They could do. I'd find out it took them, I'd break the fingers, I tell you. Certainly with that Homo sapiens. I shouldn't really say that now. Now someone's got evidence if they want to say, well, he threatened me. Okay, let's go over to the screen. So, this week's videos. So last week I found that I had a problem. So some of the videos that I mentioned weren't exactly the right ones. So I've corrected it now. So last week's videos. Sunday we had the semi-final number 1 of the fountain pen tournament. We've seen the results of that. Tuesday, Battle of the Brown Pens. Certainly not all my brown pens, but it was a selection of 5 brown pens. I tried to get a nice range of manufacturers and prices. Enjoyed doing that. So I'm doing these like focused Battle of the Pens once a month, about that second Tuesday of each month. So I think we've done red, green and now brown. So some of them are going to be based on the colour. I'm also going to do some where it's based on the country they come from, so just to mix it up. So that's something I'm planning like a monthly series. Friday we had the February halftime report, so that's more of a chatty video, so really going on about how I got on with the 6 pens that I started the month with. Saturday, so that's yesterday, I had 2 videos. One on my tricky little questions, which was looking at the largest animal in the world. So up till now, the largest ever animal in the world is the blue whale, and that's still a living animal. About 10 years ago, paleontologists started to find the fossilized remains of a 40 million year old whale. Well, not whale, it was pre-whales, but it was what in that same line that became whales. And they've only excavated part of it, but it makes the blue whale look small. So it's this what will they call it? I can't remember the name of it. It's all in this video. But this animal, has now become the largest ever animal in the world. Bigger than dinosaurs. Even the blue whale, I believe, is bigger than dinosaurs. The only thing is, it's not a living animal. So the largest living animal is blue whale, and the largest one, I think it was called Pericetus colossus or something like that. But that's over on Tricky Little Questions. Yeah, Miss Marilyn Darling's put in here Titanosaur, where's the moose? para something or other. It's actually bigger than that. It's massive. It's I think the skeleton alone, the thing was something like 8 or 9 tons just for the skeleton. That's without any of its blubber. The other video that I had out was on Next Actions, which is my personal productivity system. So for the last 15 years, I've been using a task management app called OmniFocus. Very, very, very powerful. Not cheap. They brought out the latest version 4, at the start of the year. Now, I've been on the beta test for that for well over a year. Very good. Absolutely awesome package. But it was going to be a paid upgrade. So it made me start thinking, right, well, let's have a look at this. So I experimented with Apple Reminders. So this is the free Reminders app that comes with all the latest Apple operating systems. And that operating system, that Apple Reminders, was actually able to let me do exactly what I was doing with OmniFocus, but with no cost. So this video is really talking about why I moved into Reminders, and then quickly going over how I'm using Reminders to manage my tasks. So that's more of like a personal productivity. Let's get to the right place. Last week's video. So here we go. Next week's videos. So today we've got semi-final number 2. So that's the Twisby Eco and the Ranga Santa. Tuesday, February's ink pen. So this is looking at the pens that are currently inked up. That's ready to go. So that will be. So the February ink pens that will be available for members within half an hour or an hour of the end of this. It just depends how long it takes me to go and have a drink and say good morning to the wife and get told off for doing everything that I've done wrong. You know, like you do. Friday. So this is one of the ones I mentioned last week. Gave the wrong date for it. So Friday is definitely the memo notepad. That's what I said last week. It's one of the few ones where I struggled to say anything nice. Well worth watching just to see me getting frustrated with this paper. And then Saturday, Tricky Little Questions channel. That's photo quiz day. So there's 10 photos for you to try and guess what they are. And then my book of the week. So I've been reading this week Small Gods by Terry Pratchett. I'm about 2/3 of the way through, so I'll must be finished that during the week. Then I think it's Lords and Ladies next. Again, that's the next in the series. Been enjoying this one. So this is taking a bit of an taking the mickey out of religion, to be honest, and how, you know, what the bit I was actually reading last night, there was something really, really interesting in it. That, you know, one of the characters in it is this god who used to be a really big god, and he's somehow come back to Earth, and he was expecting to come back as something like a massive bull, but it's come back as a tortoise. And he's been trying to find someone who believes in him. So he's gone to the seat of the religion, which is a very militaristic seat, and he's been trying to talk to, you know, the various priests, the various people that so far, you know, say that they worship him, and none of them could hear him but this one person. So he's only got this one believer. And what it was saying last night is that one of the issues with a lot of religions is it goes away from believing in the God to believing in the structure that is put in place to run the church. And that was really, I know it's taking like the mick out of it, but to me that was a really insightful thing, because a number of people that I know in the UK and here who are very, very, they say they're religious. They say, you know, I've got to be honest, some of them are the most vicious, horrible, nasty people that I've ever met. And they say because they go to church, everything's forgiven, so they can do what they want. And they've gone away from the message to believing just in the structure of what's there. And I thought that was a really, really profound thing. So yeah, really enjoying this book, and it really is making me think. So that's the book of the week. Let's go back to the camera and we'll do a wrap up through the comments. Miss Marilyn, darling, lol, exactly. I think that's when I was saying about breaking someone's fingers. BJ, no use taking your holy grail to the bar to drink a beer. My grail pens stay at home or in my hand. Yeah, this is where I'm still, I know I've said this a number of times. You know, certainly with him, like my Pilot 823, I very rarely take it out of the house. But the problem is, if you're not using it, what's the point in having it? And this is where I need to get my head around this. You know, do you take it out of the house and risk something happening, which means you're not using it? Or, I don't know, it's I still, my mind keeps saying to me something like this, exactly the same as this. Don't take it, keep it at home, then it's safe. I think Grail pens prefer ink, lol. Yeah, they're definitely both fairly wet ones. Chris Robinson, watch out for falling turtles, Garry. Absolutely. The last thing you want to do is have a turtle fall on your head, especially if it's got 4 elephants stood on the back of it. I say this small god's very interesting. You know, I know I've read it years ago, but it didn't inspire these same thoughts in me. And as I'm reading it, maybe because I know I'm going to discuss it on here, I'm thinking more about the books. It was just something that hit me last night when I was reading. I was thinking, do you know, that's so true. They don't believe in God. They don't believe in the message. They believe in the structure. BJ, my 823 travels with me, but I don't set it down. Yeah, I can understand that as well. Will, thanks for joining, Will. Bye all, be safe, have to run. Great to see everyone. Let's refresh. If we got that, looks to be all the comments. So we're up to about an hour. So thank you all for your time today. I'll leave another minute just in case any more comments come in. Hopefully you've enjoyed today's video. Please hit the thumbs up button every time you like, every time you comment. Just helps with the YouTube algorithm. Drop any comments if you're watching after the stream. Drop any comments down below. I do read every single comment. I try and respond to every comment. Some of them, it might only be with a thumbs up. But if you see a thumbs up there, you know I've read it. To me, it's important, like I do here, that I read everything, you know, because if someone's taken the time to send me a message, you know, I should then take the time to respond to them. Blonde Scales 1, have a great week all. A Musset, thank you for the stream. Don't forget, our memberships are available. So yesterday I did a half-hour stream just for members. Actually went through, part of the stream was where I was preparing for today's video. So getting some behind-the-scenes type view there. That's something I'm planning to do maybe once or twice a month, where it'll be, we'll see how it goes. We'll evolve as we go, but there'll be, you know, members-only streams coming up as well. So every time you help, you know, membership, it all helps for me to get more pens. You know, and then more pens help me to get more content and hopefully try and evolve where we're going with the channel. BJ, as always, thank you for bringing us together, Garry. Help and happiness to everyone. Andreas, thanks everyone for a great chat. Chris V, thank you, Garry, for a great evening. Alia Rose, we've got, oh, is that a cat or a fox? I don't know. I'm not very good with emoji. So thank you all. Hope you've enjoyed yourselves. Ricardo, have a great week, everyone. I will leave the chat open whilst I play the outro. So thanks, Garry. Take care. So I'll talk to you again soon.